Here is the most powerful argument against the existence of God that philosophy has produced. It is called the logical problem of evil, and it goes like this. If God exists, then God is omnipotent, omniscient, and morally perfect. If omnipotent, God has the power to eliminate all evil. If omniscient, God knows when evil exists. If morally perfect, God has the desire to eliminate all evil. Evil exists. Therefore, God does not exist. It is a valid argument. If the premises are true, the conclusion follows. And the evil in this world, children born with terminal illness, innocents killed in natural disasters, the scale of human suffering across history, makes the premise that evil exists very hard to deny. The Cayce Readings take this argument seriously. They do not dismiss it with faith. They respond to it philosophically. And the response begins by challenging one of the premises most people assume is non-negotiable. The logical problem of evil depends on a specific concept of God, omnipotent, omniscient, and morally perfect in the classical sense. Remove any one of those attributes and the argument fails. The concept of God provided in the Cayce Readings describe a God who is genuinely self-limiting, not as a deficiency, but as the necessary consequence of creating real companions rather than controlled instruments. A God who could override the choices of souls at will would not have companions. Genuine companionship requires genuine freedom, and genuine freedom means the freedom to choose evil, to cause suffering, to go astray. The readings make this explicit in their treatment of both omnipotence and omniscience. God has given free will, and having done so, though having the foreknowledge, though being omnipotent and omnipresent, it is only when the soul chooses that God knows the end thereof. The future is genuinely open. God does not know it in advance because it genuinely depends on choices not yet made. This is the position of process theology and open theism, and it dissolves the logical problem of evil at its root. The argument requires a God who could eliminate evil and chooses not to. The readings describe a God who has voluntarily constrained divine power for the sake of the relationship. Evil is not permitted by an indifferent, omnipotent God. It is the consequence of freedom exercised in a universe where freedom is real. Even if the logical argument is answered, a second version of the problem remains. The evidential problem of evil does not claim that evil and God are logically incompatible. It claims that the sheer amount and distribution of suffering in the world makes the existence of a good God improbable. Why do children die of cancer? Why do earthquakes kill thousands of people who had no moral culpability for anything? Even if freedom explains some evil, natural evil, disease, disaster, congenital disability seems to require a different account. The readings address this through the framework of karma and reincarnation, and their response is philosophically serious, not just religiously reassuring. The reading's position is that when a soul incarnates into any realm, whether a flesh body on earth or some other form elsewhere in the cosmos, that soul becomes subject to the laws of that environment. No exemptions, no special protection from the natural consequences of physical existence. The soul chose the incarnation. The terms of incarnation include exposure to the full range of physical conditions. But beyond this general principle, the readings frequently identify specific cases of apparent natural evil, congenital illness, birth defects, severe disabilities, as karmic conditions, not punishment. Conditions chosen by the soul in the context of the interlife review as the most direct means of addressing unresolved patterns from previous lifetimes. The word karma means action, specifically action and its inevitable reaction. The readings ground karma in the structure of the universe itself, cause and effect operating not just within a single lifetime, but across all of a soul's incarnations. This is not a punitive system. The readings consistently frame karma as educational, meeting oneself, encountering the consequences of past choices so that they can be understood, integrated, and transcended. The phrase the readings use most frequently in karmic readings is, "The entity is meeting self." In several readings given for children born with serious congenital conditions, the response was direct about the karmic dimension, while being equally clear about the opportunity it represents. This reframing is philosophically significant. The congenital condition is not an injustice inflicted by a callous deity. It is a condition the soul entered with purpose, as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Whether it becomes one or the other depends on what the soul does with it. The readings also extend karma to the family level. When a child is born with a serious condition, the readings sometimes describe the care of that child as a karmic responsibility of the parents, their own meeting of self through the relationship. The entire family constellation becomes a context for mutual soul development. Here is the dimension of the reading's response to evil that goes beyond anything karma alone can offer. Karma is not the final word. Grace is. The readings describe grace as the capacity to meet karmic conditions in a way that transcends mere cause and effect through genuine change of will, genuine love, genuine alignment with the divine. When a soul meets its karma not with resentment or avoidance, but with understanding and constructive purpose, the karmic debt can be resolved, not just deferred. Reincarnation, karma, and grace form the foundation of soul development in the readings. They work together. Reincarnation provides the time. Karma provides the curriculum. Grace provides the possibility of genuine transformation that the curriculum alone cannot force. The readings describe grace as accessible to every soul at any moment, not as an arbitrary divine favor, but as the natural consequence of aligning the personal will with the divine will. When that alignment is genuine, cause and effect operates at a different level, sowing and reaping in the spirit rather than just in the flesh. This is the reading's answer to the problem of evil, not a logical proof that evil does not exist or that God permits it for inscrutable reasons. Rather, it is a practical framework in which evil and suffering are neither arbitrary nor final, in which every condition, however painful, is embedded in a larger arc of purposeful soul development, and in which grace is always available to shift the trajectory. The problem of evil has driven thoughtful people toward atheism for centuries. The Cayce readings take it seriously. They do not wave it away with pious assurance. They engage it with a concept of God that is genuinely self-limiting, a framework of karma and reincarnation that extends the moral ledger across lifetimes, and a concept of grace that makes genuine transformation, not just compensation, possible. This is not a comfortable philosophy. It places real responsibility on the soul for the conditions it encounters. It denies the consolation of pure innocent victimhood in cases where karma is involved. It insists that what seems like calamity from the outside may be opportunity from within the soul's own perspective. But it is also, in its way, the most hopeful possible response to suffering. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. Every condition, even the most devastating, is a meeting with self, and the meeting can be the beginning of transformation. Think of the most difficult condition in your own life, something that has felt like pure misfortune. What if it is, in the reading's framework, something your soul enrolled in, not as punishment, but as the most direct available path to something you needed to understand? What does that reframe make possible?